Officially 10 o'clock. We can get our meeting started. Please stand for the pledge and prayer. Heavenly and gracious Father, we thank you for the gifts you bless us with each day. Give us the strength and wisdom to make the best possible choices each and every day for all of our citizens and ourselves. Watch over our armed forces, police, fire, and EMS. Allow all of us to return home safely at the end of our day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you all for attending. I'd like to do a roll call of members, President or myself, Commissioner Stiles, Commissioner Wade, and Commissioner Bachman. I have nothing on our agenda for public comments today, so we'll move on to the approval of minutes from January 13th, 2026.
So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approved, that motion will carry. We'll move on to our top 10 expenditure.
Okay, getting into some of the specifics of the 10 top ones that we've had from January 16th through February 6th. UPMC, our health insurance, was number one at $190,986. Echelon protection and surveillance came in at $51,463, and that was for services provided to children and youth services. PCOMP is our workers' comp payment insurance for the county, and that was $24,976. RVA is our IT company, our IT provider, and that was $17,149 for monthly services. Mobile Communications of America, $13,121, and that was for radio 911 radio maintenance. Summit Food Services for the correctional facility. There's two of them. One was for $11,498, the other $11,461. Diamond Drugs also for the correctional facility for prescription drugs for inmates, $7,767. Hometown Bank for our monthly loan payment for the new CYS building, $6,963. And Foster and Foster, who provide our retirement actuarial services, $6,600. And that is the top 10. So I'll make a motion to approve the expenditures.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a comment regarding the expenditures, especially number 2, that Shelley on protective services. Just to make the public aware, that is dealing with delinquent youth that's in the system. In November, December of last year, this one particular youth cost the county over $229,000 for one youth in our delinquent program. So that delinquent budget, as you know, increased. I think there was an 87% increase in that particular line of the budget. So those delinquent costs are escalating. I know last year we budgeted $680,000. I think our director requested $729,000 that particular line. We had budgeted $680,000. That line ended up costing the county $1.7 million. Delinquent children youth costs. So just to let you know some of the cost drivers in the budget, costs to the county. They're gonna continue to seem like they're gonna continue to escalate. When you have one delinquent youth for 2 months in November, December, that costs you $229,000. That's very, very hard on a county budget like ours. And then you see the payment, therefore, just the, security guards. That's just security guards, this particular youth, over $51,000 for 1 month. Just to let the public aware of these driving costs of the budget and what we're facing as a county, and just starting in January. So just to make you aware of that. So it's fine.
While those are driving costs, they are required by law. They're necessary costs.
Yeah, the commissioners have no say over that. We only have to pay the bill. We have no say over those costs whatsoever. We only have to pay that.
Yes,
so.
but I do also want to mention it's based on need. It's.
Right, well, I'm not, yeah, I'm just based on need, but I'm just letting you know, a lot of people say, well, can't the commissioners do something about that?
Right.
We could do nothing about that.
You second that motion?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, having a first and a second, and that further discussion, all those in favor,
Aye.
opposed? That motion will carry. Under old business, there's nothing under old business for county staff updates, awards and bids. We'll move straight on to the new business. Under new business, we have a motion to act on the change of assessment notes control report for the month of January 2026, based upon the recommendation of Nicole Abbott, Director of Tax Assessment Office.
So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, Nicole, do you have anything you'd like to say further about this whole thing?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you. This is Nicole Abbott. She's our new Director for Tax Assessment. Having a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion will carry. Motion to act on the approval of the master agreement between Bedford County and National Printing Company, NPC, for the 2026 election, based upon the recommendation of Bedford County Board of Elections.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
First and a second, is there any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. A motion to award an agreement between the County of Bedford, the Bedford County Agricultural Society, and Keller Engineers, Inc. for engineering services on the Bedford County Fairgrounds Sanitary Sewer and Drinking Water System Replacement Project, which is funded in part through the Environmental Protection Agency congressionally mandated grant program. The amount not to exceed $84,000, based upon the recommendation of Bedford County Agricultural Society and the Bedford County Planning Staff.
So moved.
Second.
Having a first and a second, Beth, are you going to say anything about that? I know you're deeply involved.
Yeah, so I will just say that this project is no cost to the county. This was actually funding that was received by Senator Casey's office, to the county for the fairgrounds. And the fairgrounds is providing the match money for that project.
Having a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. A motion to act on the approval of the subrecipient agreement with the Center for Community Action for CDBG FFY 2024 OBO Bedford Township Housing Rehab. This is based upon the recommendation of Jeffrey Fellows, CDBG Administrator for Bedford County Planning.
So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, Jeff, did you want to say anything about that as well?
It's pretty much a standard agreement. The county's responsibilities, Center for Community Actions, responsibilities in overseeing that housing rehab project for the CDBG.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Having a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to approve the reappointment of Edward J. Lafini, thank you very much, to the Bedford County Housing Authority Board for a term ending and expiring January 20th, 2031, based upon the recommendation of Bedford County Commissioners.
So moved.
I'll second.
Having a first and a second, any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next is a motion to appoint Troy Works to the Bedford County Airport Authority for a 5-year term effective February 10th, 2026, ending January 31st, 2031, based upon the recommendation of Bedford County Commissioner.
So moved.
Second.
Having a first and a second, I don't think there's anyone here at the airport authority today, so we'll move on with the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion will carry. Next, we have a motion to act on the approval of the following actions received by department heads for February 2026 as listed.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And would you like to say something additional about that?
Yes, I just wanted to introduce some of the new staff that I see here. We have Olivia Bernice. Did I say your last name right? Olivia? Bernice. Yes. Excuse me. And she's in our office. She is in the election office as one of our administrative assistants. We really love her smiling face and her willingness to help others. So please make Olivia feel welcome. We have a lot of staff here today, so just so you put that face there. And also I see Melissa Millard. She is our new finance director. And she's our new full-time finance director. And you'll be getting around, you're going to be given a tour to meet the different.
Yes, and I also
Offices.
have my assistant sending out emails to all the department heads so that we can set up a time to sit down. Just get to meet and hear a little bit about each of your departments and any of your possible needs.
And Melissa is coming to us. She was last employed with the city of Johnstown in their finance department as a finance director.
Yes.
And also has other municipal experience. So she comes to us with good finance background as well as municipal experience. So we're pleased to have you. Thank you, Melissa. Is there any other new staff, new hires here?
Nicole, but can you address Teresa?
Teresa. Okay, sorry, I can't see right there. Sorry, Teresa. Okay, so Teresa, you're with the assessment office? No, I'm sorry,
Veterans Affairs.
I'm sorry, Teresa. Veterans Affair Director for Veterans Affairs. Yes.
Huge shoes to fill with Gretchen leaving, so.
Well, you came highly recommended. A lot of people sent letters asking that you be appointed or hired for that
Thank
position.
you. Honored to help them.
Thank you.
And Matt is our new BSO that took over my position, so stop in the veterans office and say hi to him. He's a veteran, decorated veteran, Purple Heart, super excited, lots of energy, and everything's gonna be rocking and rolling in the veterans office, so thank you.
Excellent. I love that enthusiasm. And the veterans so appreciate it too. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, having a first and a second, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries, which brings us to our adjournment. And our next commission meeting will be March the 10th. And that's very good.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Second.
Next, we'll move on to salary board. And we do roll call members, myself, Commissioner Wing, Commissioner Bachman. Melissa is out today and we have Cheyenne, my mind went blank, I'm sorry. And Judge, I believe in this particular one, you're also,
Well, did you want me to wait until you got my agenda item, or do you want me to join now?
Probably.
Your agenda item.
Okay, that's fine.
okay. Okay. We'll do the approval of minutes from January 13th, 2026.
So moved.
Second?
Having a first and a second, any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have nothing under old business, and under new business, we have a motion to act on the approval of wages, whereas by union contracts for the following personnel based upon the recommendation of the representative department heads for January and February as listed.
So moved.
Second?
Having a first and a second, any additional comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now under B, we have a motion to act. Just reopen it.
Okay, yep, I'll need some time to set up.
Okay,
Do you want me to start?
well, let's do our motion first.
Sure.
We have a motion to act on the creation of a full-time position for the treatment court coordinator at 35 hours per week with compensation of $22 per hour with benefits. This is based upon the recommendation order of Judge Travis Livingood and the Court of Common Pleas of Bedford County. Having a first, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Having a first and second, further discussion.
Okay, great. So I'll start. I do better speaking when I get to move around, so, I speak enough sitting down during the day. Well, I'll try not to. So thank you everyone for showing up. I know I do have people here from the committee, the opioid committee, and then also our drug court, treatment team. So the position I'm, gonna talk today at the salary board is the treatment court coordinator. Now, what is the position? So it's not a new position. This is a part-time position that we've had with our treatment court for 2 years. The reason, well, and two important things just to begin with. It's not a new position and it's necessary. So our treatment court doesn't exist without the coordinator position. As we started the treatment court about 2 years ago, to be fair to the taxpayers, I did not ask for a full-time position because we didn't even have any participants at that time. So it made sense to me, cost-wise, to do it as a part-time position. As we started filling in our program and as we were moving along, I have heard from my coordinator, who actually is no longer our coordinator because during this discussion period, unfortunately, she has decided to go another way. So we are without a coordinator at this point. That's why this presentation and why the vote here today is so important. So first two things, very important. It's not a new position and it's a necessary position for the treatment court, the viability going forward. So what are the job duties? This person processes new application into treatment court, and I can provide the media also with a job description too, if you want that as well. Processes new applications into treatment court, so treatment court participants can come in one of three ways. New charges, they can come in after they plead guilty. Most of our participants are reentry. So they're people that on active supervision, they have a probation violation filed against them or parole violation filed against them, and then we're putting them into our court. Those are the toughest cases most times. Interviews new applicants and schedules team meetings. So she is basically, if anyone knows what my court administrator does at the common pleas level, Ms. Wilt, that's what this position is for our treatment court. Assists and recommendations into entry into treatment. I think you're going to hear from Ben Noggle here a little bit. He can provide you better information on what he does with this position. This position coordinates all treatment, employment, community service, housing, and other rehabilitative opportunities. So this person is highly involved in on the phone, really a lot of times, talking in between the treatment court or the treatment providers, probation office, the courts, their employers, trying to get them into community service. The coordinator has gotten them into housing, other rehabilitative opportunities. But she is really the brain function of the entire treatment court, the operating brain of the treatment court. Manages progression of the participants and assists in team decisions. So how the treatment court works is we meet 2 times a week, although we do speak throughout the week. Also, if we have to take up issues or trying to help people throughout the week, that's not uncommon. But we meet twice a month. We meet as a team. The coordinator helps plan that meeting, helps run the meeting, and then we have court afterwards. And again, I've offered for the board to come for 2 years. You're more than welcome to show up. And really, I think if you came to a treatment court session, you'd see what the position is firsthand.
I have been there on several occasions.
I think you came to a team meeting. I don't think you came to the court session, right?
I was in the courtroom with where you're.
Oh, okay, were you? Okay, good. I thought you were just there in the team session. You're right. You did show up on that one occasion. Thank you. This person also tracks and reports mandated data in continuing education. And this is one thing I'll get to why this is needed full-time. This is a very important function that we need this person full-time for. So here's the main statement. A full-time treatment court coordinator is essential and necessary to the functioning and existence of the Bedford County Treatment Court. All right, I can't emphasize this enough. If I don't have this position, I don't have a treatment. We can't offer. And what you're gonna hear from in just a little bit, in the next slide, and from other people, why this has to be full-time at this point. So why is full-time necessary? As we've seen as we've gotten more participants in the treatment court, the communication and collaboration needed between probation, treatment providers, and our team requires an in-house coordinator. When we had a part-time one, the travel in and out of the courthouse, not being available in-house. I think one of the problems having I think you probably agree, not having an in-house finance director is you don't have someone in-house to answer questions and go out to your offices and deal with them on an in-house basis, right?
That's correct.
Same thing with the treatment coordinator. I need an in-house coordinator to talk with my team, probation, DA, and public defender and everyone else involved in it. Critical treatment decisions need to be made quickly with an in-house assessment or in-person assessment. A lot of times the most critical decisions that come up, we have someone that comes in our treatment court, maybe early on in their situation. They relapse, might be a serious relapse. We need to get them into treatment and make that decision quickly. We can't do that if our person isn't here and they're part-time. And a lot of times what we've experienced is those can be life and death situations. Full-time allows growth for more participants and more time with each participant. That is what we have seen now too. As you'll hear from Mr. Noggle when he speaks, he is, I love him, volunteering his time now, doing the things that our coordinator should be doing. So we need to move that along. We want to grow this program and allow for more participants and a better program. We need full-time. Here's an important one. Any treatment court needs to move forward with being state certified. That's its own process. We cannot do that without a full-time coordinator. We can't be state certified through AOPC. What that allows is if we are state certified, that opens up other grant opportunities and other funding opportunities after certification that it's very possible, as I think I've told this board before, state certification offers up grant opportunities, which then offers, we may pay for this position completely by itself. But I can't do that unless we get the position. Here's a big one. I think probably the public defender and the DA probably would stand up for. This position is necessary to create a mental health treatment. This is one thing that I think is needed. I can think of, without talking cases, without talking individual defendants, there are 2 people at our jail right now that, due to serious mental health issues, they're stuck in jail. Because I don't have someone to monitor their progress into the community through treatment, to such the degree that a full-time position would allow. I don't have that person. So not having that person, the only option we have to protect both the community and the person from hurting themselves is they're stuck in jail. This is what was discussed at our mental health summit. That mental health treatment courts allow for people to be removed from the jail and get into treatment, thereby lowering your costs. and moving those cases along. Because once people get stuck with serious mental health issues inside our jails, their cases become stuck. And quite honestly, they sit there way longer than what they need to be without treatment. The jail can only do so much. I have defined this treatment court coordinator such that it would be used to both create this mental health treatment court and coordinate this one as well. So really, when you look at this, this is not just for the drug treatment court that we currently have, but it's to create the mental health treatment court as well. Okay, so what is the cost? So the past 2 years, it's been, yeah, go ahead.
On the mental health treatment court, with it becoming the coordinator becoming a certified coordinator, they in turn could apply for some potential grant funding to fund the mental health
The
treatment. court?
coordinator isn't certified.
Well, the court itself.
Right, and well, I'm just making sure we're using the correct verbiage, right? So the coordinator isn't certified, the court becomes certified.
But that'll open up the opportunity to provide for grant funds to pay for the mental health treatment court.
I'm sure there are grant opportunities for mental health treatment courts, yes. Yep. So the past 2 years, the county has paid $25 per hour for the part-time position, okay? So that's what we've been paying for the past 2 years. Again, started that part-time because that's what worked with this particular individual. And there was no participants, so I couldn't justify having a full-time position. And really, that's the only person I could get for the coordinator position. To be quite honest with this board, I don't think I can get someone part-time for this position. I just do not. One, I don't think anyone would be willing to do that. I think the one we had was a very special scenario. And regardless, that's not what is needed right now. What is needed is a full-time position. So this is my proposal. Actually, I'm willing to work with the county here, reduce the cost to $22 an hour. I'm going to remove the college degree requirement because after talking with Mr. Noggle and other people on the team, I don't think that's required for this position. I'm going to remove that requirement, take it down to $22 an hour. I understand the county might be concerned about benefits, so that gives room within there to work with what benefits would cost. Here's the good news. The position is now approved for reimbursement from the opioid settlement trust. So what that means is we are currently approved. I think that occurred
December 4th.
December 4th. So we are now approved to be reimbursed for this position through the opioid settlement fund. Currently, we have that set at 60%.
Yeah.
I think that is very conservative. Ms. Clevenstein, we can apply easily to increase that to as much as 80.
Yeah,
It's
so,
depending on case law.
yeah.
So, Mr. Smith, you believe that to be probably a more accurate portion of our caseload? So what we believe is the 80% of our caseload in the treatment court, it's more towards the 80% caseload of past opioid use. So I really do think we can get 80% reimbursement on this position. So what that means is if we go to 80% reimbursement, what we're talking about the position being $4.50 an hour. That's what we're talking.
Does that reimbursement include the benefits?
I don't know. That's a question for Ms. Clevens.
We can add those in, yeah,
There you go.
absolutely.
I'm glad you asked that because I actually have a slide that talks about that because I didn't know. So that's good. Actually, it makes my slide better than what it is. So we're talking really about $4.50 an hour for the actual salary of it. And again, full-time position opens up the possibilities to pay for even that, what's left over, or other positions. So when we look at that, we look at what costs are we actually saving with this position. Because when you look at a budget, when you look at a county budget, you just can't look at things on a line item basis. Because nothing, well, and I'll say that, I guess I should speak from the court's point of view. Nothing happens in a vacuum in the criminal justice system. or the CYS system. Anything you do in that budget is going to affect what happens on the other side, in another office somewhere else, okay? So what we're really concerned with is the actual cost to the county here. Now, so the Bedford County Correctional Facility cost, how would this affect the cost there? I believe the three of you sit on the salary board or on the prison board. You're aware what it costs a day to house an inmate? Do you know what it is?
Off the top of my head, no, but I can tell you for 2024, the average number of inmates, it costs approximately $42,000 per house.
Okay, Mr. Wayne, do you know per day?
I go with what you did, 42 now.
What per day, you know what it is?
Not at the top, not.
Okay, so it costs, Mr. Eichenloff couldn't be here, great warden. He couldn't be here today, so I asked him this earlier this week, what it costs per day for an inmate. And he told me it's $95 to $105 per day, average. That includes, an average of bed space and medical care. I did not ask him this, but I think probably for what we're talking about on our treatment court participants, with Matt, medically assisted treatment, we're probably on the higher end of that. Probably even higher than the 105, okay? But I'll take it a conservative rate here of $100 today, a day. So this is the math that I want, that I'm putting out for this salary board. 36,000 figure right here, year incarceration. Now, where am I getting that from? We have 10 participants currently in the program. I can tell you, most of those participants are coming in on a probation revocation. Most of those people, we're looking at anywhere from 90 days to 3 months to 6 months incarceration. Ms. Hendershot, would I be accurate on that?
Yes, and in some cases higher, Your Honor.
Even 9 months, even
Yeah.
11 months.
Yes.
Ms. Clark, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Smith, you would make those recommendations, you agree with that too? By far, most of those participants were looking at a minimum of those days. So if you take just a fraction of those participants that we have in this program, I would say by far, we have saved well more than a year's worth of incarceration by having this program. $36,000. That's very conservative, very conservative. I could say it might even be double that, maybe even more. But I'll take it conservatively at 36,000. 18,000. Now I know it's less than that. Because if you take what the total year salary for the position would be, 80% reimbursement, you get about $8,000 salary. The benefits, if you get reimbursed 80% on that, I took it as the full benefits, but we wouldn't get reimbursed. So this is very conservative, 18,000. That's what it would cost after reimbursement. So the difference there that we're actually saving the county is $18,000. Children and Youth Services cost. Mr. Wake, I'm glad you brought this up. Almost, well, I got the list. I'm looking at our current roster of treatment court participants. Five of the 10 have kids. At least one has multiple children, maybe more. Why I'm telling you that is what this program allows us to do is keep their kids out of placement. If we are truly concerned about what placement costs are involved with kids, this is your cost saver. The juvenile that you spoke about, Mr. Wink, during your meeting, it was a delinquent child? It was not.
That's what I was told.
Well, it was not a delinquent child. It's a dependent child. It's through CYS.
Well,
So-
that's what's on, the paperwork that CYS gave me has him listed as a delinquent, so I'm not sure what to tell you.
Do you know what the difference is?
I'm only going by what the data CYS provided.
But what I would caution,
It's rated, and what they provided me, it was a child placed in a like a detention facility with two guards 24/7. So I can only go by what, the director, Fresco, told me.
do you know what the difference between delinquent and dependent child is? Because they have very important distinct meanings.
I can only tell you what, Director Fresco said as far as it being a delinquent child, and that's what's listed on the paperwork he gave us.
Well,
So if you wanna,
I would suggest that before we start talking about kids, that we know what we're talking about. Because the real cost of the child that you're talking about, and the other two commissioners are right. That's required by law. Okay? So,
well, I didn't disagree with that.
okay.
I was only
But the-
explaining,
but
when
the
the
real-
public, when the public come to the commission and say, why are these costs up so much? We need to provide an explanation. And, I only go by what Director Grasko gives us. So he gave us, the actual, 2025 actuals, and it has right here, payment to non-city incident delinquents, 1.7 million. He was explaining to me that the youth that was, in particular, that cost, over $200,000 was a delinquent. That's what was explained to me. So I can't, that's not my lane, you know what I mean, as far as to explain what all these terms mean. I only go by
Well,
what
then I
is,
suggest you stay in
I-
your lane, sir.
well, I suggest that when it comes to county budget, when the taxpayer asks why something costs what it costs, we have to provide an explanation.
I would be happy
You know.
to provide that explanation.
You know what I mean? And,
Mr. Gresko?
I was gonna say that you did question, you guys had questioned me about the bill back in October for that specific use required to one radio. I had sent an email out to all of you explaining that was a dependent youth, that was one of ours, that was CYS youth. That was back in October when we first placed the kid and we got the bill come in. That was that kid that was being transported, threatening staff. We had law enforcement come assist our staff with getting that youth in a safe environment, and that's what happened. So I can send you that email, I can present that to you, make sure forward with that youth. Placement costs have increased 5 to 10% for delinquent youth and CWES dependent children. It increases every year, but that youth in particular wasn't dependent.
I believe, sir, also, we gave a very extensive presentation before the commissioners at a meeting at the end of last year. That was recorded and provided online, where we explained in detail what we do. I believe Judge Livingood provided you with a number of slides and a very specific presentation to that also. And I believe that we've addressed this issue extensively through all of our departments.
And let's talk about,
To move forward, so you keep our meeting going, please.
well, I get it, but this is good information. I would also say, like, if you want to give the true facts to the public on what the actual cost is, you got to talk about the state reimbursement. You're given the wrong number. That's not the accurate number. That reimbursement, would that be 60 or 80%? Do you know offhand?
80% for the CYS youth, 80.
Okay, so 80% reimbursement of that $229,000. The actual cost of the county, sir, is $45,800. Now, grant you, I understand these costs are high because the youth that we're dealing with here needs services like that. And that's what I think Ms. Hendershot was telling you, why we gave you all that information. But just to throw out a large number like that without explaining what it's for, it is not the truthful information.
Like the $1.7 million for the payment for non-city delinquent youth. What's the reimbursement rate for that?
If it's, they're placing you through juvenile probation, it's 60/40,
60/40. So the county,
depending on the
so
facility.
the county pays 40% of the
Correct.
1.7 million. Correct, okay.
But I mean, putting out the $229,000 number and harping on that, it doesn't give an accurate picture. That's not what the county is ultimately on the hook for. I'll meet with the media afterwards also in regards to the CYS budget. I'll give you some more information as well on that, but I'll move the meeting along. I appreciate that, so. So the CYS costs involved. I can't tell you what that would be because quite honestly, I don't know if the children involved here would have been placed. There's a good scenario where they would have been. But I can't tell you what that is. But it sure is saved. The biggest thing is the human costs, all right? And that's what I'm going to go into. But I have much better people than me to speak about the human cost of this. I was asked during one of our meetings, how do we measure treatment court success? I tried to give an explanation on that, on what that meant. Again, I don't think I'm the best one to talk about it, so that's why I brought people here to talk about it. I asked, Mr. Gardner, our first treatment court graduate. And let me say this first. So how do we measure treatment court success? This is a 2-year program. We started our program in March of 2023. You graduated when, Kyle? November. So it's a 2-year program. So you're sitting there going, well, your program hasn't even existed for 2 years yet. And that's correct, because actually the program assumes that someone is going to have a relapse or do something that we need to correct in some way. He completed it in 18 months. If that's not success, I don't know what is. Kyle, do you want to come up and give a few words, please?
Please don't hurt.
Yeah, I won't. My name's Kyle Gardner. I was the first person put into the treatment court, and it changed my life, my children's lives. Without it, I'd probably be in prison. My kids wouldn't have a father. It's a very, very important thing in this community with the problem of the drugs and families losing each other. Sorry, I'm not very good with public speaking, everybody. This kind of threw on me. But it is a huge part of our community, sadly, the drugs. And this gives opportunity to people who actually want to do better with their lives, do better.
Thanks, Kyle. So I will say with Kyle. So I will say with Kyle, he went through all phases of what the system tried to help him with. County probation, county jail, state parole, state jail, state drug treatment court, right? And nothing's took except this program. You revealed to us about 15 months into the program, I think. He said, this is the longest I've ever been clean my entire adult life. Okay. So I did ask the members of the opioid trust committee. Can you raise your hands, please, for me? All right, so those people were here on behalf of them. And then the treatment court team members. You want to raise your hand, please? I did ask them to be here. I know Mr. Noggle, I think, has great information on why this needs to be full-time. I'd ask him to come up and speak now.
Morning. So just for context, my name is Ben Noggle. My role in the treatment court is the case manager, the treatment court case manager. And I work directly with every participant in the program. I can also speak from personal experience as someone in long-term recovery, so I understand both the human and the community impact of a program like this. While our treatment court right now serves 10 people, that sounds like a small number, but I just want to be clear. Those are 10 humans, 10 individuals that would otherwise be cycling through jail, probation violations, institutions, rehabs, all that. So Kyle was our first graduate, right? Graduated in 18 months. So he was the first graduate, but every other participant in the program, from my perspective, is truly making meaningful progress. They're engaged in treatment, they're stabilizing their lives, they're finding employment, reconnecting with their family and loved ones, which is a huge, I work with individuals every day that have lost pretty much everything in their lives, and that is a major component to this program. And I'll touch on it a little bit, but that fills people up with hope, and, they set goals and they meet them, and it gives them a sense of self-worth. So that is a very, very important part of what this program does. The success that you're seeing is not accidental. And while, this is not a passive program, it requires a lot of constant coordination, monitoring, data tracking, compliance reporting, court prep, and communication between multiple agencies. The coordinator is the person that holds all this together. So everybody in the treatment court team serves a vital role. And when one person is not there, it puts more work onto other people, Dakota, myself, everybody involved. So everybody has a specific role to fill, and that's exactly what they do, and that's why the program works so well, in my opinion. The coordinator, as Judge Livingood touched on, everything from daily operations to eligibility screening to team coordination, data reporting to state systems, grant assistance, policy development, participant orientation, and ensuring adherence to evidence-based standards. These are responsibilities. They're ongoing and time-sensitive, not periodic or part-time tasks. And the program, as it grows, and trust me, it will grow. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So all those responsibilities increase exponentially. Each participant does not add a small amount of work. These are very high risk and high intense individuals that we're all working with. From my perspective, working with every participant a lot of the time, a full-time coordinator is not just a want at this point. It's a necessity to this program and to this county. If we don't have that, we run the risk of not protecting the integrity of the program, meeting state standards, continuing to produce positive outcomes. This, full-time coordinator and all the other staff are vital to this program. For many years, I've been saying throughout the county that addiction and substance use is not just an individual challenge or a family challenge, it's a community challenge, right? And community challenges require community-based solutions. So I've learned that focusing on solutions rather than disregarding, ignoring, or brushing them under the rug generally produces a better outcome, right? So these individuals are part of our community and they can be successful, right? We just have to give them the ways and means and accountability to do so. A lot of times participants come into this program carrying all kinds of damaged relationships, shame, distrust, lack of self-worth, no employment, it's not financially stable, all that stuff, right? So, and not just distrust from themselves, but from their families and the community. We tend to be a relatively conservative area. So whenever the topic of substance use, addiction, drugs, mental health, when that topic comes up, there's a little bit of a stigma, sometimes a lot of stigma still surrounding that, right? And that's what we're trying to correct here in this community. Throughout the program, they start, like I said, they start rebuilding relationships. They get the trust back from their families. They gain a little bit of self-worth and self-respect. They can walk down the streets of our community with their heads held high and not in shame and embarrassment. One of the most important things that I've seen probably people in the program grasp is they start, after a certain point in time, they start realizing that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, is the right thing to do. It makes them feel good about themselves. Because a lot of the times, from being in recovery myself, taking the easy way out is often easy, right? It's hard to do the right thing all the time and make correct decisions, or when something isn't going your way, not just turn to your usual coping skill, which would be substance use. So it takes a lot of effort and a lot of personal action to be able to overcome that. In my opinion, people who feel valued, accountable, and invested in are far more likely to remain in recovery, maintain employment, and comply with court expectations. And from both my own personal experience and working with them directly, these internal changes are what truly makes a difference. That's what prevents relapse. That's what allows them to feel a part of this community and gain all the things, material or not. It allows them to gain those things back. I just want to emphasize that this treatment court and this position are an investment in this community. Like Judge Livingood said, it reduces incarceration costs, lowers recidivism, improves public safety, and helps people become productive and responsible members of our community, which should be the ultimate goal. I'm just one example of what recovery-based or recovery-supported accountability can do, and I see the same potential in each one of our clients. And again, I just want to emphasize, like, success in this program, every day that somebody who struggles with substance use disorder has clean, every single day they get clean and can make a step in a positive direction, that's success to me. So, I mean, everything else that falls after that is just a bonus. Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak on either one of those committees that came? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Dr. Peggy Hoffman. I'm a psychologist. I have a practice in Everett. I've worked in local, state, federal prisons and also in robust community corrections programs. We provide some of the treatment to the treatment court participants. I serve as a consultant to the treatment court team periodically. And if you think that I'm here because having treatment court participants is important for our business, it's an important part of our business because we do that type of work and we dedicate the time to it, but it takes a lot more time to work with these participants than it would someone coming in as a self-referral for depression or anxiety. So I'm here completely and entirely because I believe in and have seen the treatment court model work. I've worked with 5 different treatment courts in different jurisdictions, and I have attended many trainings on programs like this. And across the treatment community, there is a resounding message that treatment court is the best thing we have to address substance use disorder. It is the best thing. It's not perfect, but it is the best thing. And it's because of the coordination, exactly why we're here today, the coordination between supervision and treatment entities. If people can make it to treatment on their own, that's fantastic. We love that. And people get better. But if they can't make it on their own, we need a court and a team behind them to get them into the treatment that they need. And that is the power of treatment court. You can go, across West Virginia, they spend millions of dollars on their community corrections programs. I think there's a lot of money spent. I think Judge Livingood did an excellent job outlining the investment that comes with putting a person in 1 day of treatment versus 1 day of incarceration. It's real-time savings now. There's less people in prison, throughout the year, but it's an even greater long-term investment in people not being in the revolving door of prisons, and then their children are in CYS, and then they're in prison. It's impossible from my perspective to truly outline all of the successes and benefit of a treatment court, because it is like throwing a stone in the water and the ripples go on literally for generations when people are healthy and well and productively engaged in their communities and they work alongside us and they pay taxes versus costing us tax money, sitting in incarceration and their children in CYS. Treatment court means saved lives, and that, from a treatment perspective, Mr. Nagel said it very eloquently. Every day that someone remains free of a substance is a day of success. And, I think that was excellently worded. I think that, and the only way a treatment court works is when it's well staffed by quality staff, and the team of people I have seen care very much about the success of participants. And I've seen treatment courts work well and less well, and having a fully staffed, quality team makes or breaks a treatment court program, and the coordinator is at the heart of that. And it's just the difference between life and death. It's the difference between families staying together and families torn apart. And it makes our community better. It makes it a place for people to come here, to want to live here, to want to work here. And I just am extremely supportive of this program continuing, and I think it's the best thing that we can do for people with substance use disorder, their families, and our community at large.
Yeah, go ahead.
A number of years ago, treatment court was a little bit of a dream of mine, and occasionally I would bring it up and we just weren't at that place. When I was told a couple of years ago that we were actually going to start treatment court, I cannot explain how excited I was. I have been public defender in our county since 2012. And unfortunately, I have literally represented the generations of the same family. So when we say this is generational, that's 100% true. And I have seen people just make monumental change in the time that they've been in this program compared to when I have seen those same people cycle in and out of the jail. I mean, they have absolutely just changed their lives, and it is just phenomenal. As Judge Livingood pointed out, as a member of the team, my role is very specific. I rely on the coordinator to keep us abreast of everything and keep us all pulled together. So we do communicate throughout the week if there is a hiccup or something that needs to be addressed, and of course at the team meeting. So it's vital to have that role. Also, though, it is my fervent hope that we will move toward a mental health court as well. We desperately need a mental health court, and therefore this position must be full-time for my next dream to come true. I have represented, and a judge can tell you, dozens of people that are incompetent, not just have mental illness, but to the point where they cannot make decisions in their defense. And unfortunately, that means they might be in jail 9 months or so till I can get them into an inpatient setting. So that's 9 months that you're paying to incarcerate that individual. And it's not helping them. That's not what they need. So this step, in my mind, as we're helping people with substance abuse disorder in the way that has been most effective, as the doctor has already indicated, is the next step to helping people with severe mental illness and changing their lives long-term as well. So I cannot stress enough how important this position is to our program. And this program has been the most effective thing that I have seen for the clients that have been there. Some of them I have represented, some of them have been applied by other defense counsel, but it's been amazing to watch. And I think that Ben is 100% correct that it's only going to grow. I mean, I have someone in mind right now I want to apply for it. So we're only going to keep growing. And with that, there's going to be more and more workload for this individual, and we need that to be full-time.
Anybody else? Yeah.
On behalf of, I'm sorry.
No, you go.
On behalf of the district attorney's office, myself as well as both of my assistants are involved in treatment courts. And we just want to echo what everyone has said today. I think everyone has covered it. This is absolutely an essential position. Our community has to be so proud of the creation of this treatment court and the success that we see with Mr. Gardner and just every day. So I think having this full-time position allows us to continue that success, continue the momentum that will affect not only our participants, their families, and our community. And as Attorney Hendershot had stated, this is absolutely something that we'd like to expand to create that mental health component because that is a large population of individuals that are incarcerated now that we could reach through this program, and having this full-time position would allow us to move forward and do that.
I just wanted to briefly speak from a family recovery specialist perspective. I work in the county with dozens of families who have a loved one with a substance use disorder. And our biggest challenge is figuring out how to raise rock bottom for our loved ones, because a lot of times rock bottom is fatal. And we have hundreds of families in our county who didn't have the proper support to keep their loved ones alive long enough to get them into recovery. And that's what treatment court does. Treatment court gives us another tool, another way that we can have external consequences that will really enable our loved ones to get healthy enough to make that choice to stay in recovery. So we're all in favor of that as well from a family perspective.
What else? All right, I do need to say, you know, this is not a me program. Like, I have great gratitude for everyone here because it was just, you know, what, 3 years ago, if you had told me what I thought the program could be, I may not believe that we'd have the success we do now. And that's not because of me, that's because of the people in this room working together. So that's, thank you very much for your statements and support on that. So just want to run down and, my gosh, for the people that spoke, everyone's going to think that we coordinated what we were going to say today. We did not. I had no idea what they were going to say. But treatment court is the single best statistically proven method to helping people with long-standing serious substance abuse disorders. That's a fact. That's a proven fact. It's reuniting kids with their parents, keeping families intact, safer communities by removing dependence on controlled substances, larger and more skilled workforce. We have a large portion of our treatment court people have come in. They're in their 30s, sometimes in their 40s. They have never held a job, like ever had a job. By getting clean and then having our coordinator help them get into the workforce, that is the first job that they have got, and they're good jobs. Like we're talking JLG, Corals, a lot is what we place our people into. They're good jobs. And they keep moving up, like they keep improving. Increased home ownership. We have people buying homes for the first time in our program. At the end of the day, it's giving people, families, your constituents, a second chance of life. That's really what it is. I went back and I looked at, I just read the minutes from your last meeting. And I think one of the commissioners made the comment that recognized how something would affect the county at large. And also that would have long-lasting effects on the for generations to come in the county. Well, listen, I don't know if that's accurate, what that commissioner was talking about, but I will say this. You can insert drug and alcohol dependence into that sentence, and that is absolutely true. There is one thing that affects in every area of this county and affects all walks of life, all socioeconomic status, affects all families. And that is shown by the participants we have. We go from age 23 up through 60s, right, in our program. So this affects everybody, and it affects their kids, it affects their families. So if you want to make one change in your county and invest in your county, I'm telling you, and what you've heard from here today, this is it. All right, we've spoken enough.
I do have a question.
Sure.
I just want to verify, this is an hourly and non-union position.
It's a non-union position.
Hourly position.
It's hourly position. Yep, the 35 hours. And I don't expect that to include any overtime. I don't.
Okay, so, yes.
Yeah, have some discussion. I see former Commissioner Frederick back there. I know when the opioid settlement funds had begun to come in during that term, you know, that created a lot of new opportunities for the county to, over a number of years, to be able to use those funds to really help in important ways. And looking at those discussions, as you mentioned, Judge, it really was just the beginnings back then of really talking about the treatment court and what other opportunities we could use the opioid funds with. So to see the passion here today and to, see a success story sitting here, it really is impacting people in meaningful ways. And I love the idea of being able to expand the program and grow the program and influence people in really impactful ways. So I don't think anybody sitting here, the media, can't be excited about the passion and all the positives happening through this program, through the treatment courts. And with the opioid settlement funds, there's other things in addition to the treatment court, where the funding is being used to make a big difference in this community. And, we can highlight that in some future meetings as well. But the business in front of us today is whether we're going to approve this motion for the full-time treatment coordinator. And so I'll let other people discuss that. I'm in favor of it.
Having a first and second, is there any further discussions? Yes.
Just want to thank everyone who came today to give us that presentation about the treatment court, the different aspects of it, how it's impacted people, and the positive, just yesterday I received some of the data, the families that were helped, the individuals and the different aspects of that court, and that gives you an idea of what's happening with it, and how it's working, as commissioners, one of the things that our job is always to, you're in a sense the fiscal watchdog of the county. You're watching how money is being spent and is being appropriated in a right way and being used in a manner that is a benefit to the taxpayer. We're stewards of that money, and I know sometimes the questions we ask about spending and why things are spent a certain way or why are we so over budget in one particular category, those aren't necessarily popular questions to ask because people don't like those questions. But that's the job of the commissioner. When you see something in a budget that's flying a line, you ask questions pertaining to that. But I think in this case, this treatment coordinator position, the impact it's having, you could have a long lasting ripple effect. We have an example of that, a gentleman here, and the impact it's had in his life and his children. And I think as a community, we have to weigh those things, when we make decisions, because there's a lot of variables that take place. It's not just always, you look at the fiscal part of it, but you also look at the impact generationally, what can happen with that. And I do wish this program continued success. And as commissioners, we will continue to watch that and ask the tough financial questions. That's our job. And it's what we're elected to do, ask the questions. And being a first-term commissioner, I'm not always, some of the terminology to use. And one thing you'll find in government, there are a lot of acronyms. What's this acronym stand for? Sometimes you have 2 or 3 pages of acronyms. And, being a first-term commissioner, there's certain nuances in government, and how big county government is and all the different things you do with county government that you don't always have all the knowledge you wish you had with that particular thing, but you ask lots of questions. And if you ask anybody in the courthouse, Commissioner Stiles and I and Commissioner Buff, we ask a ton of questions. I think sometimes it drives people crazy, but we ask a lot of questions. It's our job. And I always say that our job is not to just, sit around and drink a cup of coffee, eat a donut, and just sign checks. And that's not our job. Our job is to watch things, and when things are brought to our attention, and we go through the sheets for payments, the breakdown, we go through and, well, what was this for? What was that for? We ask a lot of difficult questions, and that is our job to do that. And it doesn't make us always the most popular people, but it is our job to do that. But I'm excited about this, the treatment court and what can happen with it and with this position. And I really appreciate the presentation. It really helped me understand more about the position and some of the things behind it and whatnot. So
The next part of our job is.
Well, if I can just say something, I have never looked to question about what we do in the courts. Sorely. If anyone wants to ask me a question on what we're doing, I'll be happy to talk to you. Because that's one thing I want to make sure is the public knows the factual information about what we're doing in the courts. So I would never look you, never look down upon you if you're gonna ask me a question. I would always welcome that. All right, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, the next part of our job is to act on motion B. Having a first and a second, is there any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? That motion will carry.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The first meeting, and the next meeting, we have March 10th, 2026. Thank you.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Yeah.